We're live! Oh. Surprise! Good morning.
Man. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh.
It's great to stay up late.
Stay up late. No, it's not.
It's not so
It
great.
is not.
Not that great. Especially when you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. anyway.
Yes, and I woke up with that panic this morning of, our show is very soon.
Yeah.
But that's a normal thing. It always happens.
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
That's how we roll. We like to plan a show months in advance and then not do anything about it until 2 weeks before the show. That's just how we like to roll.
Anyways, guys, it's December 12th.
December 12th. We are streaming. However, we will be hosting together live. And there will be some special guests also performing live. But we will be streaming the whole show, and there will be videos and live. It's going to be a mix.
Yeah.
And
multimedia, guys.
And in the next few days, we are going to post a list of things you can tip sign us for. You go to that.
In the comments, you request, hey, do an impression of Cher. Or whatever, something like that. We'll have a list.
And be specific. Which one of us needs to do these things?
Yeah.
There'll be like truth or dare. Truth is going to cost a lot less than dare, of course.
Oh, dare every time. Dare every time.
And it...
Because I don't want to tell the truth.
Do we have a right of refusal? Do we have a right of refusal on these things? We don't?
No.
What if they dare us to, get naked?
Okay.
Okay, so, guys, just know that she'll do the naked. I won't. Because I'm old.
I'm old, too.
We should acknowledge we lost a giant in musical theater. Mm-hmm. On Friday. Was it Friday? Yeah. Yes, day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Stephen Sondheim. Perhaps you've heard of him.
91 years old. But it's still it's a big loss.
It's huge. He was still working. He was still still doing things, and his music has been just such a part of the fabric of anybody who is part of theater, musical theater for sure. But even anybody outside of that, who hasn't seen West Side Story, who hasn't they're
right. Right. Even if you don't know him, you're probably affected by him in some way.
I mean, he incredible melodies and rhythm, insane rhythms that drives people insane. In fact, we just had our friend tell us, I can't play that song for you because it's Sondheim.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And his lyrics are just,
the best.
I mean, I can't even
witty,
communicate.
Poignant. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, witty, poignant, everything. It's he was a master, just a master, complete master. So huge loss.
But so lucky that we are living in his time and that we get to experience his music, and we've both sung his stuff. And in fact, I think we're turning our show into a little bit of a Sondheim tribute at this point.
True. To be fair, so before he died, we chose our show, and we just thought our theme is going to be based on I'm Still Here.
Because that song is just, it's for the ages and very relevant now.
Yeah, so our theme this year, it's the CNC, We're Still Here. So we had already chosen that as our opening number. Claudia and I have a habit as CNC of causing things to happen. Once we've chosen a show, once we have chosen a theme, our disaster theme, then created a fire out in front of the theater.
Yeah, we were loading in, and there was a truck on fire in front of the Steve Allen Theater.
We had a very Bowie-heavy show that ended up, he died a month later. So we caused these things. I'm sorry about Stephen Sondheim. Just want to apologize.
He's 91. I'm just going to say that.
It's not our fault. Don't blame us. Yeah. So, anyway, CNC, we're still here. So we are doing a few we've added now a little more Sondheim to our show, because why not?
Yeah.
It's our show.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and then the news you wanted to talk about.
You're frozen.
Am I freezing?
You are freezing.
Nice. Okay. Oh,
there you go.
Am I back?
Well, I mean, it's a big.
Check
It's
my
a bit. Are you connected to the Ethernet? Well, I was going to talk about, because there's more theater news. I mean, big breakup news. Anthony Ramos and Jasmine Cephas Jones, who met doing Hamilton, have ended their engagement because Anthony Michael Ramos cheated. Like, he took another woman into a strip club, and a stripper, one of the girls, taped him there. Like, good job, guy.
Yeah, that was a stupid mistake. You can't get away with things, especially when you're famous.
But I will say this. Yeah, I will say this. I'm not defending him in any way, but I feel like if something like that happens, there's other things that are already wrong, in my opinion. Having this
I think we've all been there.
These things,
right?
you know. So,
good morning, Richard Malmos, and yes, God bless the master, Stephen Sondheim. Definitely a master. Yeah. Well, as I said to Claudia, I guess that means he's free.
Yes. Is he available? Yes. Ladies. You know, and he seems like my sister worked with him, Radio City. It was her last year as a Rockette and his first year doing the show. And, you know, he's very nice. Like, in hindsight now, I'm thinking, like, was he very nice to you because he wanted to get into your pants?
I mean, maybe.
She was like, yeah, you made it a point to say hi every day. And now I'm like,
Why? And then you came across a... we're not doing... As you can tell, we're not doing real news and stuff today.
No, because it's too heavy. Like, the real news
too
is too much. I can't handle it.
So once you set this up while I get the video going.
Yeah, so Lakeith Stanfield, who's an amazing actor, I mean, he's amazing in everything he does. He just joined TikTok, and his second TikTok is a video of his audition for the movie Cats. And to me, it's hilarious. And my sister also really enjoyed it. I mean, basically, and again, it's an audition. It's not like he's able to do full makeup or anything like that, but...
There it is. It's not letting me do the audio for some reason. But there you can see him.
Well, there you can see it, and you can see what his handle is kind of. I posted it in my Instagram stories also, but I mean, look at that. I like this.
I love that. He's just in his living room. There's no backdrop. He didn't do anything like that.
No, but he does have somebody in the room playing the piano. You can hear that.
Yep. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I just love that he wanted to be part of that.
And they flew him out to London also. Like, that's how close he was. Wow. I guess Jason Derulo? Is that his name is? I'm not with it. I didn't
see the movie.
Oh, we started it, and we still intend on finishing it. It's been a year since the last time we had it on, but yeah. It's something else.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite musical anyways. Why they turned it into a movie, I don't know. But
no, James Vasquez, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but it's still not my favorite musical.
Yeah, Lane Cashin, my friend, toured in it for years and years.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
So we are doing something a little different. We're kind of combining our two shows today. Nina, if you're there, it's almost time. We are combining the shows. We usually do C&C and Coffee, and then there's also C&C and Conversation, where we bring on some artists to speak to. And this morning, we're doing C&C and Coffee and Conversation.
C.
So we're bringing on a couple guests. We'll talk about why they are on here. But right now, we've got Nina Herzog and Andrew Joseph Perez. Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, both of you were You starred in the film. We did. I directed a film. Claudia choreographed. It's a film that's going to be used in a live production called My Unauthorized Hallmark Movie Musical, written by Eloise Coopersmith. So it's a little difficult to describe, but it's a one-woman show. And this film is behind her the entire time, and she interacts with the characters. So she interacts with, well, she really only interacts with Nina, but she, she hears and sees all of you, the rest of the characters. So basically the movie is a little mini Hallmark movie, Hallmark style movie. And it's, this show is about this woman's, journey and her love of Hallmark movies and her journey of finding her own voice by writing her own. So it's premiering on Friday. That's coming up. So that's going to be fun to see it all put together, because we did our part, we did our film, and that's it. We haven't seen the rest of it. I mean, except Nina. There's a new twist. Nina is actually going to be playing the writer for some of the performances. So she will be doing the one-woman show, and then she'll be behind herself on screen, talking to herself.
That's how I spend most of my days anyway, so I can understand, just behind and talking to myself.
So I should mention, in the film, Nina plays, now I'm going to blank. Emma, thank you.
We shot this in March.
It's in March.
Year.
Look, my brain doesn't work anymore. You want to tell us a little bit about your character, Nina? That's opposites. I forget that's opposite.
Yeah, the character Emma really parallels the writer's journey in a way, which makes sense, because I think anytime a writer sits to write something, it's a piece of themselves that they're sort of unfolding, or an imaginary part of them. So my character Emma is going through the obstacle of trying to trust her own voice, her own creative vision. She's sort of in a position where she has a mentor that doesn't really respect her as an artist, and throughout the musical finds a way to write her own happy ending, her own story, finds love, and finds her voice and her sense of empowerment as an artist and as a young woman. Which I think also you see the writer come to as she finally writes the story, gets past all her self-doubt, the demons, the bad guys, really, I think for her own voice saying you can't do it, but overcomes that and writes the story. And it's happy. It's Hallmark.
It's Hallmark. That's right.
That's a really good pitch.
I know. Yeah. Nice job.
Yeah.
When is that show going up? I want to see that. Sounds nice.
Oh, there's this weekend.
Andrew, you want to tell us about your character?
Sure. I play the prince because it's a Hallmark thing. So you gotta have a prince. And I feel like he's kind of the hopeful embodiment of the necessary transformation some of us with Y chromosomes need to undergo to kind of get out of his own way and stop coasting and actually start putting some effort into things, because he grew up a prince, very privileged and not much to worry himself about, and so by the end of the show he realizes that he can't just swoop in and let me just throw my being a prince at all the problems and it'll fix everything, but he actually has to learn how to listen and how to engage and communicate with Emma so that they can actually come together, and then for the rest of it you're going to have to just come and see it.
That's right.
So there.
That's right. It was a really interesting journey making this little film anyway, because we were in the middle of COVID. Everything was still going on. We honestly weren't sure we were actually going to be able to shoot once it came to it, because it was still, this was before vaccines.
We were in the thick of it, yeah.
This is pre-vaccine, and we shot at an actual theater down in Anaheim, and had to be masked up and checked in, and anytime you weren't on screen, like on set, you had to keep that mask on. It was very interesting. We had all of our rehearsals on Zoom.
Yeah.
That was presented its own challenge because we couldn't really block anything until we were in the space. So, like, for you guys, you know, for me as a director, that was insane, you know, to have to do it that way.
Yes.
You know, especially we weren't on location. It was all sort of, we were using what they had at the theater, and sort of, you know, makeshift. So we had to come up with a concept that made that work. But for you guys, what was that like as actors in this to have to deal with it in this way?
Nina, you want to jump on it?
I mean, it was weird. It was so different. I mean, I think now, even though things have opened up a bit more, there still is a lot more that's happening on Zoom and camera, you know, like auditioning and doing things at home. But being in a show, it's like all of us are theater people. We've been doing this our whole lives, and so much of it is about being in the room with like-minded people. And so it was really my first time, just kind of like cultivating that ensemble energy of creating something together, and yet we're away, we're apart, you know, and we did it. And then, but then also when we came together, it was it was like the show where there's this like elation when it happens. That's like a moment in the show where it's like, oh my gosh, we figured it out. It kind of felt like that because we were all like, are we going to do this? Not only the like weirdness of I'm doing it literally in my little living room, and then suddenly, you know, it's no longer props, it's the real thing, but also just, that we all passed our COVID test, and of all the variables, you know, it was like one little thing could go wrong. And
that's right. Yeah. And Andrew?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, seconded on all of that, but for me, the other weird thing about it was because at the beginning of COVID in March 2020, I had so much stuff lined up, I think as all of us did, that I very quickly had to just strap into, okay, so everything just gets canceled now. That's like one of my friends posted a beautifully succinct way of putting it. She posted, I've now realized that canceled can be spelled with 1 or 2 L's. And it was like, yeah, because I've gotten notifications from every employer and every show and every gig that I had lined up for the next year with various spellings of the word canceled.
Yep.
And so there was this element, I think, and I don't know about anybody else, but for me there was this element of, sure, yeah, I'm going to fling myself into rehearsing this. We're going to do this thing. And when they tell us that we're not going to actually do it, then I'll say, okay, we're not actually doing it. That was fun. Thanks for the ride.
Yeah.
So there was that. And I mean, just seconding everything, Nina, everything that you just said, you know, when we finally got into the room together, it was like, oh, all of you have like whole corporeal forms. You aren't just floating heads that periodically freeze and talk without making sound. This is amazing. When you talk, I can actually hear you and experience what you're saying. But it was a trip. It was a total trip. And it was early enough when we finally did shoot. It was because my brother is disabled. I was able to get in the first wave of vaccines, and so I had my first vaccine dose right before we started shooting. Yeah, and you know, this was so early that the doctor's office was like, okay, so this is the day you have to come back for your second dose. They hadn't figured out the windows yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Crissy, I think you and I went back and forth, I don't know, 24 times trying to like, okay, well, this article from the FDA says that you have a window that extends to this one, and the CDC says this, and the WHO says this.
Yes.
I'm on the phone with them, and they're like, no, we don't have anything on that day. So it was this whole,
I'm rearranging shoot schedules.
Yeah, and like, do we need to recast me at the last minute? No. Because if I get this second shot and I have symptoms, I can't be on set.
Right.
It was a whole, like, it was such a, even as an actor in it was a logistical Sisyphean task. So I can't even imagine what it was like on your end.
Were you post booster in some of our filming that, or post vaccine?
I was in between my shots.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, because you had to wait till the next week, right?
Yeah.
After we finished instead. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
he was supposed to be on the first day of shooting.
Oh, okay.
We had to rearrange things a little.
Called Crissy from the doctor's office. I have an issue. Oops.
I have to say, though, I was telling Crissy when I was watching everybody's auditions on tape, I was just so impressed about what you guys did, especially dance-wise. in the space that you had, like it's impressive, like what you come up with and like what you have to modify. And, I don't know. It was a challenging experience, but you guys just did such an amazing job. It was very impressive. Very impressive.
I mean, Claudia, you had to teach all the choreography on Zoom. And
it was like, and I appreciate, like you guys, like, especially talking to me all the time, because it's like, I don't know, like I'm used to like being in the room with the people, and I can either mirror or, on Zoom or StreamYard or whatever, I'm like, I'm not sure which arm I'm saying right, but it looks like left. Like, it was challenging for sure.
Challenging, yeah. I mean, and look, we all rose to the challenge. Kudos to Eloise for just, barreling through and going, we're doing this. Yeah. And we did it. We did it. And, and not to mention, I'm not exactly sure when she started writing this, but she got this up. She had the idea and got this up and moving so quickly, that it's a little mind blowing that a year later, I started working on this a little over like September of last year.
Wow.
So, but here we are. It's actually opening this Friday. I'm going to show a flyer later so you guys can get all the information down. But I do have some. And by the way, we should talk like Hallmark. There are so many Hallmark movie fans. It's such a thing. It's not a thing. I will admit it's not a thing that I've ever been into. I'm not somebody who watches them over and over on holidays. But boy, everybody around me does. My mom, my sisters, my nieces, everybody watches them, and I get it. I get it. It's happy and fun. You don't have to worry about it's not stressful to watch any of them.
Well, even Dolly Parton did one. I mean, it's not a hers isn't Hallmark, but it's very much in the style.
Yeah. And there's just something so It's nice to just be able to let go and be like, everything's going to be okay. You're just going to go on this nice little journey for a while. So Eloise's love of Hallmark movies is what led her to this moment, and she turned it into something very productive and very unique. And I'm excited to see it as a whole show.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I'm going to show some photos. Let's see how we do. There we go. Let's see. That's this one. Sorry. Takes me a second sometimes.
I usually just hold my phone up to the screen.
All right. This is on set. We'll see some of our other friends here. There's Benny. There's Samantha. I can't get there's. It's like hard to see everybody.
I know.
It's so little. But there you go. Yeah, that's one of the set shots. So as you can see, we kind of just used what the theater had. We tried to use projections to make things, give you the idea of where we were. And we sort of took it, we turned the set into this is in her mind. So it's very, that's why it's very sparse. You're just getting these little bits of it. This is Nina recording.
That's a great shot.
The soundtrack. Yeah. Here we are, the first visitation of the prince.
The night.
Oh, that's a cool
the
shot
night,
too.
right? The night. So this is one of those scenes where we had to figure out how to make it look like. So Eloise is off camera; she's just reading her lines. But we had to figure out how to make it look like Nina was speaking to Eloise, who is live on stage. So there were a lot of those moments that were a little challenging to get the right eye line. Right. Oh, here's me looking at you.
Director lady.
And there I am directoring.
Yes.
Andrew looking at me like, what?
What do you say?
Andrew
What do you
looking
want me
at
to
you
do?
like, where do I get a jumpsuit like that?
Oh, we are all about the jumpsuits.
Yeah, got the hookups. Here we are. Look at that. See? We weren't shooting yet, so they had to be masked. There we go. The cutest.
Cute.
Oh, those
Cutest
clusters
number.
were so cute.
Right?
So cute.
Yeah, the cutest. Look at that.
Benny.
And a thank you to Will and Company. That's Colin Cox and Fran de Leon. They loaned us these costumes. And then, it's not going to let me go all the way down. Here we go. Oh, that's weird. Okay, well, you can see your faces on the bottom there.
Top of Nina's head.
Yeah.
And we will let your imaginations fill in what's happening
right.
beneath in that
Come see the show.
That's right.
That's right. You have to buy a ticket to see the
see the rest of our faces. And then I'm going to put up the flyer so that we can see that. Oh, where did it go? It got lost.
Well, I just want to mention another cute little connection that I figured out when I was on set that day, that your sound guy is actually the son of my teacher, Teresa Hayes, who, I mean, it was my dance teacher 20 years ago, who we interviewed. And that was just such a funny, weird, like, what? That's your mom? That's,
Holy
I know.
cow.
Yeah, it was very,
isn't that crazy?
very funny.
Okay, I'm just going to show it from my
Phone.
Yeah, from my phone. From my iPhoto, so you can see it. You'll see how many. There we go. So my Unauthorized Hallmark Movie Musical, a live one-woman show, which is funny. It is a one-woman show with a cast of 10, in a film. So it plays December 3rd through 19th at the Broadwater Main Stage in Hollywood. You can go to P3 Theater Biz, theater with the RE.biz, to get more information. But there's also, we've been posting online for more information. Nina, we were going to talk about how did that happen that you ended up coming on to be the writer as well?
Well, I got a call from, I spoke with Eloise, and she was saying, we just think it would be really interesting if the writer were writing the story for herself, like writing a part for herself, or it kind of makes sense that you're writing something and it's a version of you, like we were talking about earlier. And it would be nice if for a couple of performances there's an alternate, and what do you think? And then I watched some of their rehearsal footage of the live staged part, because we only knew the movie musical part.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that is really interesting. I love the idea of writing your own happy ending, writing your own story, and sort of finding strength through creativity and finding optimism through creating art. So I thought it sounded exciting too, and jumped on board.
That's so great. And Andrew, we were talking earlier, you are now doing Audible books.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You just got an actual contract with them?
I did, yeah. So I can't say what it is. I'm under an NDA. Right. But yeah, I started doing, a bunch of friends recommended that I start looking into ACX, which is Amazon's basically self-publishing audiobook service. So as a narrator or engineer or as an independent author, you can post or audition for projects. And so I've, about the end of last year, I started looking at it and getting some information about how it worked. January, I did my very first book with the little Yeti that I'm using right now.
Nice.
And now I just completed my 16th book.
Wow.
All this year, I've upgraded my system, turned my closet into a booth. Everything is like super, super set now. And now I'm working directly with the publishers, so you can
Amazing.
You can find me on Audible, on iTunes, I think some of this stuff is on Spotify now. Spotify's getting into the audiobook universe, but yeah, it's a wild little niche of this whole industry that's
so great.
Just the way that technology has advanced and become so relatively cheap to acquire. One of my big concerns going into this was like, I came up in a time of digital audio production that it was like, unless you're ready to spend $2,000, you're not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, dude, go look at the prices again right now. It's like, what do you mean I can get an entire studio set up for more or less like $400? Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Crazy.
So yeah, we live in the future, and I'm trying to take advantage of it for sure.
Do you edit your own books too?
When I'm doing independent work, yeah, with like a publisher, they'll do the editing, which I actually is harder for me because if I can pre-master the tracks, it's way easier to edit because it's kind of like editing your own film. If you're shooting with the edit in your head already, it just smooths everything out so much.
Sure.
So it's a little harder actually if I'm not doing the editing. But yeah, for all the independent stuff I do, I just edit it myself. I've got a big fancy monitor. I feel very cool.
Nice.
Well, you sound great. You look great.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't think I've gotten a haircut since we shot our things. So.
Fair enough. And Nina, what are you up to aside from about to do this show live?
Yeah, well, I've also been writing music and bravely putting it out there, which started, I was writing music before the pandemic, but I was also, there was like whatever audition was coming up, that was the deadline, or, I did some touring with musicals, some different concert performances, and it was always like a specific deadline that, okay, I was going to prioritize that. But then during the pandemic, I was like, I have this music, I've been wanting to share it, I don't have another way to be connecting through the arts, so now is the time. So I released an EP, and I've been releasing singles, and I'm writing another EP now. So I've been really enjoying that sort of began during the pandemic, and I'm enjoying doing it and planning to continue doing it. And when I sing live concerts, I've been adding in my original music, which is so fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
great.
Yeah, you guys go see the show because both of you have really lovely voices, and
Oh,
it's gonna be a lot of fun. The live portion, by the way, I should mention, is directed by Anne Ranulfson, I'm looking forward to see it. Will I see you both on Friday?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and the shows I'm doing the writer for December 4, 11, and 17.
Great.
okay.
Great.
What a trip.
Otherwise, I'll just see Emma, but it's so fun. I'm excited to see it all live too.
Yeah.
Be on stage with it live. Really fun.
Well,
wait, so Nina, have you been rehearsing with yourself, essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All by myself back in my apartment, only this time I'm really, really talking to myself.
It's a strange new world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for getting up early and doing this with us.
Yeah.
Go see the show, friends. Go out, go see the show. Richard commented, great production stills. It was fun. It was, and then don't forget, we have our show December 12th, virtually. Keep a lookout for a tip sign.
You can start
info.
tipping now.
Yeah, you can tip us now. It's fine. Do you enjoy what you just saw? Tip us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all. Thanks for joining us, guys. And we will see you soon. Adios.